That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to a Brian Kelly and LSU are on a 3-game losing streak, and the LSU fans and media deserve every bit of the misery they are wallowing in. Edition of the Always Irish Show. Oh, I'm telling you what, man. There's no better weekend in my book than when Notre Dame wins and Brian Kelly loses. This just keeps getting better by the week. And it's amazing. So let's get into it. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on. That way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish, rat, Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my face, ain't nobody going to blame you for that. The call-in lines. 312-900-8815. Dial it up. Tell Uncle Johnny all you've heard and seen. Notre Dame Fighting Irish brought to you by Sports Illustrated. Read all about it. Patreon.com/Always Irish. He the former captain. He the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby and Jared Clark, two former Notre Damers, and myself breaking it all down over there behind the paywall. Thanks to everybody who's there. Appreciate your support. All right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. What a joy it is to be doing this episode. I got to tell you. John, why don't you just let the old PK thing go? It's 3 years. Let it go. You're obsessed. I want to let it go. But he's the gift that keeps giving. He's still in the news for all the wrong reasons. Like, if things were just like normal, I would let it go. But nothing's normal with Brian Kelly, man. The bright lights, there's always a circus following Kelly around for one reason or another. And it's the gift that keeps giving. So here we are. After the meltdown collapse to Sunbelt Billy and his 5-loss Gator team, LSU has now lost 3 games in a row. The Texas A&M second half collapsed the week of Halloween. Then they had a bye, the Bama blowout, and then this awful, awful loss to this bad Florida team by double digits in the swamp. I will remind you, a Florida team that has a freshman quarterback who's a really good runner but couldn't run due to an ankle injury. He played and couldn't even run. He couldn't even do the thing he's best at. And they beat LSU. So LSU played horribly. They've scored like 2 touchdowns in the last 10 quarters. They can't get the ball in the end zone. They played horribly, but that's not all, folks. It never just ends there with Kelly. Of course, they have him on screen screaming and yelling and cursing the F word at one of the players. Who in the F do you think you are? I'm Brian Kelly. And then later in the game, another one of his players, Lacey, was chirping back at Kelly. Oh, there's problems. Things are not going well in the swamp. Literally, in the swamp that Louisiana is and the swamp they played in at Florida. Both. It ain't going good. This wasn't a ranked game. Obviously, Florida's not a good football team at all. They are terrible. But what is he? 4-8 or 5-9 against ranked teams over at LSU? And so you have not seen any of those. He's still upside down on wins and losses against ranked teams, the same way he was in Notre Dame at LSU. Completely inverted record of what you want. Right? 4-8, 5-9, he's something like that in that territory. Completely upside down on it. And it's beautiful to see. It's almost as if he was the problem all along and not Notre Dame holding him back. Because now you got all the resources and talent and NIL and everything in the world, and you're not worried about high test scores to get a kid into Notre Dame. He doesn't have any of those parameters, and we're looking at similar results. What does that tell you? Use your brain. What does that tell you? Maybe Notre Dame wasn't the problem all along. So now all the LSU fans are mad and they're upset. He's got a 10-year deal. The buyout, it's only a meager $60 million. Telling you, Brian Kelly would love nothing more than to get fired. Him and Jimbo Fisher can golf every day the rest of their lives with their buyout. $60, $70, $80 million buyouts. They could golf anywhere they want every day the rest of their life. It'd be the best deal in the world for him to get fired, but it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. They're too invested in him long term, and that's too much money. So here's the deal with all this. This misery, this embarrassment is exactly what every single LSU fan and media member deserves. Every single one of it deserves this misery personally. Every one of them deserves this personally, I never had anything against LSU football at all. I was neutral. As many, you all know, I'm not shy about how I feel about Michigan and Michigan people and Miami people and USC and all this stuff. And Brian Kelly personally, I'm not shy with any of my football grudges that I hold, and I hold them openly. I don't hold anything back. I publicly let it be known. I had nothing against LSU football. I never had a reason to have anything against LSU football. I actually thought it was a pretty unique, cool football culture down there. That all changed once BK went there. We, meaning the Notre Dame fans, warned LSU fans and media that exactly what is happening would happen. We warned them. You're going to get sick of this guy. He's going to gaslight you. He's going to give you political speeches. He's going to do talk, and not deliver, and you're going to get really frustrated. He's going to start talking down to you, having problems with people. You're not going to like the way this goes. We all warned them. Big game, Brian. You're not going to like those results. They were all warned when Kelly made this jump from the Notre Dame fans and media. They were warned how this was going to go. What happened? They insulted us. They insulted our intelligence. What would you know about real football down south? You were just jealous that they stole our man. Once he gets real resources and talent, it'll be different. You don't understand SEC football. You don't understand LSU. This isn't little old Notre Dame and Northern football. This is the SEC. And once Kelly gets out of that horrible place in South Bend, he'll be able to cut it loose and win all these games. He'll have everything you need, all the resources. He just needs to get away from Notre Dame. Notre Dame's the problem. And nobody in the Notre Dame media or the fan base could possibly understand how different it is and how important SEC and LSU football. We just couldn't understand. That was the response we got when we responsibly tried to warn them. They may not like some of what they're going to get here. The LSU and SEC arrogance has been on full display. This is what they all get. This is what you get when you carry yourself with that level of unwarranted arrogance. This is what you get. Pure embarrassment and pure misery on a national stage. You all deserve this. This is what you get. This is what you get. You had no humility. Couldn't anybody over there in the LSU side say, it's Brian Kelly does have a bad record against, top 25 and top 10 teams at Notre Dame. This is something to really monitor at LSU and see if the Notre Dame people have a point or not. They couldn't even do that. They were so arrogant. They were convinced that just moving down south would solve everything and take the Brian Kelly out of Brian Kelly. It was so arrogant. That is when I started to have an axe to grind with these people. They offended all of our football sensibilities. For me personally, it really pissed me off because I have evidence going back to 2016 on all my YouTube videos of me railing on Kelly saying he isn't doing a good enough job. So the LSU people telling me that I just flipped the switch and loved Kelly, and then when he went there in the middle of the night, now I'm against him. That's really, really an intellectually lazy argument when I have public documentation over the years of me yelling about Kelly not being good enough at Notre Dame. So their argument with me is completely lazy. They don't even do the research. Can't get enough unfiltered Notre Dame football talk? Be sure to go over to patreon.com/alwaysirish. Former captain Mike Goolsby and myself. Do that. Screw it.
Oh, he never won anything. It's been 30 years.
It's bad. It's bad media. It's bad content creation. It is. So lately, they've been trying to spin around, before the Florida loss, but the other couple. The media there's been trying to spin it around, totally nailing Brian Kelly, knowing that if they go as hard on Brian Kelly as they want to, it's going to prove us right. And they'll never admit it. Here's the thing. I know how this goes. I'm a content creator every day. I know how this goes. When these guys are putting together the notes for their show, they've been trying to find ways to question and critique Kelly, but without doing it head on, because they're smart enough to know that if they do that, it proves us right, and they're going to catch heat for that. So they've been trying to tiptoe around it and find other ways to critique stuff without totally nailing Brian Kelly directly or whatever. You're not able to do it anymore. Now that it's 3 in a row and 1 to this awful Florida team. By the way, Vandy and Oklahoma, if you're going to play like this, Vandy and Oklahoma can beat them too. If you're going to play like this against this Florida team, watch out for Vandy and Oklahoma. They're not great either, but neither's Florida. So, and I don't know, it's going to be interesting. So they can't really tiptoe around this anymore at this point after 3 in a row. So it's got that old media contingent in a very uncomfortable place. And all their post-game shows, they're not so cocky anymore. I don't see them with that LSU SEC swag anymore. They all got their tail between their legs. And they're all thinking these Notre Dame people might be right. And it's steaming them inside, in their heart, in their mind, in their souls. These LSU media people are the YouTubers and all this. They are seething inside because every one of these losses and him not getting along with his players and giving these lame interviews and at press conferences, we need to coach better. There's a standard here. All the boilerplate BS that they all fell for. It's just all adding up, and it ain't good enough. It ain't good enough. So rather than to say, hey, let's give it a few years and see if these Notre Dame people are right when they warn us about all this stuff, you didn't go that route. You chose to insult us from a place of SEC arrogance, and you're getting what you deserve, which is failure and embarrassment. This is what you wanted. You wanted Kelly, you got it. This is what it is. He has had every advantage in the world and is getting worse and not better. The LSU media keeps bringing it up. You know, if you want to look at the body of work, you got to keep in mind the stuff on the high end to go along with the low end and look at the big picture. That's their new angle to avoid being really depressed about Cal. Look at the big picture. You got that big win over Alabama the first year, whatever, stuff like that. The problem is you're trending down. The high point of all this happened in beating Alabama year 1. It has been downhill trending from there. That is the ultimate red flag. You're trending the wrong way. You wasted a Heisman winner. It's going downhill. You're not trending up. Freeman, incremental improvement year over year. That is what logically makes sense if you're doing things right, that you gradually get better and better and better on your way up. They're trending the other way. Ultimate red flag. Ultimate red flag. You wasted a Heisman winner and couldn't because you had no defense. So your highlight was beating Alabama year 1, and it's going downhill since. Awful job coaching. Some of the staff is not good. Whatever. Brian Polian, I told all the LSU people, your special teams are going to be garbage with Brian Polian. Oh, you're just bitter. Brian Kelly fired Brian Polian, kicked him up to the booth, and then cut him loose because they were bad on special teams. It's almost like John knows what he's talking about, knows Brian Kelly. Unreal. But no, they couldn't hear it. They had to figure it out on their own the hard way. Hope you're happy. Great 25 recruiting class by Brian Kelly. Will it hold? One guy flipped from LSU to Ole Miss, I think during the football game, during the Florida game, or right after it. So are they going to be able to hold on to this class? I don't know. And even if they do, why should anybody believe Brian Kelly's going to get him to play good? I don't know. They're not so far. So everyone involved here on the LSU end is getting exactly what they deserve. Seeing all of their smug faces have nothing to say on their stupid YouTube channel after this game was absolute gold. You could see it in their eyes, how miserable they are and how mad they are at Brian Kelly, and they're holding back, firing off fully because they know it'll prove us right. It's the most beautiful dynamic somebody like me could ever ask for. Everybody involved's getting exactly what you deserve. Your arrogance has been off the charts, and totally unacceptably off the charts. The SEC LSU arrogance. This is a tough lesson to learn, but humility is important to have, and these people had none of it. It is such an easy fan base to dislike. I'm glad they all have to shut up. It is amazing. I hope Vandy and Oklahoma beat them. Hey, they should have LSU should have a couple more losses anyways. They got bailed out by the refs in a couple more games. They should have at least 2 more losses. So in my opinion, they should be thanking God they got the record they have. They should have 2 more losses if it wasn't for the refs. So I hope Vandy and Oklahoma beats them. If Florida can, these teams can. The media cannot hide anymore. You could take Big Game Brian out of South Bend, but you can't take Big Game Brian out of Big Game Brian. And I think LSU's starting to figure that out. The good news for Kelly is it is really warm where he lives now, and the golf courses are open year-round. So to recap, I'm enjoying every single moment of this. Notre Dame fans have been proven right. LSU and SEC fans are being proven wrong. It's maximally enjoyable to watch them fail and squirm around and not have the answers and not have any comebacks. It's absolutely beautiful. The big winner in all this is Brian Kelly, folks. He did a great job negotiating all this and setting himself up. Brian Kelly is set. So LSU, you wanted it. You got it. Now you got to deal with the problems. Your arrogance is why you feel as bad as you do today. Your arrogance is the reason why. You're the only ones who know anything about football, and you thought you knew better than a fan base and a media contingent that lived and died with Brian Kelly for over a decade. You thought you knew better and you were special, and you're realizing you didn't and you're not. Don't forget to check out the merchandise. The link is in the description. You can browse and carouse all the different Always Irish gear. Make sure you head over there and get something for the next tailgate. Thanks for being here.